Namaskar. A very good evening to each one of you and a very warm welcome to this session. It is a very interesting topic that we are going to discuss today. Interesting not in the sense that it will engage the senses and the mind, but interesting because it may offer a certain direction that existence is wanting us to look at. So before we begin anything, let us take a few moments to center ourselves. Just close your eyes and be aware of your breathing. This simple technique allows us to enter the domain of the heart where there is a stillness and clarity. Heart is the place where there is also love and grace and connectivity. So just feel the beauty, fragrance, and stillness of this state. And it is from here that we are going to offer prayers to the Guru principle that brings all things auspicious to us. You can pray to a master whom you know or you have. You can pray to a deity that you love. You can pray or offer respects to your mentors or idols in life. Either way, it makes room for more grace to enter and more clarity to arise. अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। we bow down to all the masters from all traditions, especially to the great masters of Vedic tradition who gave us the gift of Vedic astrology. It is because of them and the continuing tradition which thrives in India today, or it is thriving in the world, that we are able to learn something and have this session. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Just take a few moments to experience the blessings that arise in the heart, and it is from that state of stillness that we approach this session. I would be making a presentation because whatever I wish to explain, that will be through some slides. So just to make sure that the slides are visible to everybody, we will be using a PowerPoint presentation. So is it visible to everybody? Can somebody unmute?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So we are on the threshold of a new era. In fact, it has already begun. Thank you. So I'll just mute everyone. Yeah, thank you. So the new era has already begun, and we are going to look at it from the viewpoint of astrology. Now, many of you may not be very familiar with astrology, so for that reason I had sent some slides yesterday. So these are some basics that how astrology works. If we look at the sky, it's a 360-degree expanse. In that 360-degree expanse, we can divide spaces which are ruled or occupied by certain rashis or signs. So there are 12 signs. So each sign occupies a 30-degree space. So here are the names in English. This starts from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. And in Sanskrit or Hindi it is Mesh, Vrishab, Mithun, Kark, Singh, Kanya, Tula, Vrishchik, Dhanu, Makar, Kumbh and Meen. So this is what is explained here on the right side, that there are these 12 signs, and then how these signs are mentioned, writing the name of each sign can sometimes be difficult. So these signs have been assigned their numbers. So if you find one written there in a horoscope, one means Aries or Mesh Rashi. If 2 is written, it means Taurus or Vrishab Rashi. If 11 is written, it means Aquarius or Kumbh Rashi. So this is how those spaces are defined, or those places are assigned to various rashis. These are the symbols of those rashis. And every rashi, every sign has a lord. So this is what is given here. It's not really important for you to know. If you just the basics, that there are these 12 signs. These signs are there of there's 30 degrees each, and there's 12 signs cover the entire sky or the entire zodiac. So the other thing that is to be known is that in a horoscope or a chart, you will find that there are 12 houses. So 12 houses, it starts with the lagna or the main one, the central one at the top. So this is lagna or the ascendant. And this begins, this is called the first house or the first bhav, then the second house, second bhav, third house, third bhav. And all these houses or bhavs, they have their particular significations. So the first house in any horoscope, it represents the body and the personality. It is the lagna or the ascendant. So if somebody is born at a time when the Cancer or the Karka Rashi was in the ascendant, then the first house will be occupied by Cancer or Karka. So that personality will be, that house or the first house will always show what is the body type, what is the personality of the person. Then the second house is about wealth, the third house is about siblings, the fourth is about mother, home, enjoyments, happiness, conveyances. It is called Griha Saukya. It's about the enjoyments of the home. Then fifth house is the Santati. It is about children, higher education, initial first love affairs of a person. The sixth house is about the debts, enemies. And diseases. So this is the seventh house is about the spouse or partners, whom a person will get married, if somebody is doing business, what kind of partners he will have. Then there is the eighth house, which is about the life and death house. So it has certain information about the sudden sorrows, disappointments, or sudden events. Then it is also about sexual organs. In the death and its circumstances can be inferred from this house. The ninth house is the house of luck or bhagya, and it is about fame and fortune. The 10th house is about father, occupation, self-respect, work, ambition. How is a person going to do in the place where he works? This is determined by this house. The 11th house is the house of friends. The 11th house is the house of friends. It is also called the Labha Sthan or the house of profit. So from this house, the friends or gains are seen. Then the 12th house comes. This is the last house in a horoscope, and it is called the house of expenditure or also the house of Moksha or liberation. So there are losses, miseries, extravagance, hospital expenses, traveling to foreign countries, legal troubles, all these things are seen from this house. So you need not know all this. But because I thought that many people will be wondering what is what, so I had given this particular slide. This slide is there on the group and you can just go through it at leisure, you will know. But what I am going to share, for that, so much knowledge is not necessary. Now this is a particular horoscope. And it is what? The horoscope of somebody who may have been born in Mumbai on the 29th of March 2025. So how is that decided? If somebody is born, so astronomically we know which particular sign was in the ascendant. It was rising in the east. So that becomes the first house. So at that time, if a person was born, then the Scorpio sign or the Vrishchik Rashi was rising in the east. So that becomes the first house. Scorpio is represented by number 8. So we write number 8 here. And then what comes next in the horoscope? So 9 Sagittarius, 10 Capricorn, 11 Aquarius, 12 Pisces. Then this cycle is ending, so the next one, Aries, it starts with Aries, then Taurus, then Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo and Libra. And again it comes to Scorpio. So we started with the Scorpio, we end up at Libra, the previous sign. So this is a typical horoscope. Softwares are available, you put the timing and the place and the date in a particular software and it will generate the horoscope for you. But there is something very interesting in this horoscope. And what is that? You look at this particular house. It is crowded with all kinds of planets. So there is Rahu there is Moon there is Saturn there is Sun there is Mercury there, Buddha there and Venus there, Shukra there. So Rahu, Surya, Chandra, Shani, Buddha and Shukra, all these planets are crowded here, and there is also one planet called Neptune here. We'll talk about this later. So this is a peculiar kind of thing, that so many planets have congregated, have come together at one place. So what does it show? It is had something very interesting. So what we are going to do is that we are not studying the horoscope of a particular place. We will go to something that we call the Kalpurush Kundali. So what is a Kalpurush Kundali? We start with the first sign, that is Aries. So in the first house Aries comes, then the second house Taurus comes, third house Gemini comes, fourth house Cancer comes, fifth house Leo comes, sixth house Virgo comes, and this is how it goes. And then 12th house, the last house, the house of expenditure, dissolution and Moksha, liberation, is Pisces. So this is the last house. So we look at it from this point of view. Now it's good to have some idea of the planets. There are these 12 houses. And what is there in those 12 houses? The signs are there, and apart from the signs, there are some planets. Now the planets have their own nature and energies. So one very important planet is Sun. Sun is the king. In spirituality, Sun means the Atma, the self. So like in our bodies, in our existence, who is the most dominant? The Sun is the most dominant. It is because we have the inner self sitting inside us as us. That is how there is prana moving. That is how the mind can think. That is how the senses can operate. That is how this body can function. And we can go around doing whatever we want. So Sun is the king, it is the ruler, and it has great authority over everything. Now the nature of the Sun is that it brings discipline. It's a ruler. So ruler creates fear. It is fiery. And the Sun takes 1 year to go around the 12 signs of the Zodiac. So if in a particular horoscope, the Sun is here on the 1st of January, then the 31st of December of that year, it will be crossing this and going into this particular sign, the first sign again. So Sun takes about 12 months to move around to go around all the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Then there is the Moon. So in the order of planets, Moon is the queen. Sun is the king, Moon is the queen. In Vedic astrology, Moon is a planet. Normally, if we study science and astronomy, we say that Moon is a satellite, but in Vedic astrology, Moon is a planet. And why is it called a planet? Because it plays a very important role in everything. It covers and it is very fast. In 1 month, it covers the entire zodiac. So if it is here in the beginning of the month, in about 28 days, 29 days, it has covered the entire sky, and it is back to this starting point again. So moon is very fast, and within the two fortnights of the one that are waxing and waning, it covers the entire zodiac. Because it is very close, it affects all the bodies of water on the earth. So that is why when the moon is waxing and waning, we find that there are tides happening in the ocean. They have a direct connection with the moon. And that is why the moon influences man in a big way, because our body is 70% water. So whatever is the position of moon in our horoscope, or wherever the moon is moving around, it is constantly changing the very context of our minds. That is why in our scriptures it is said, Chandrama Manaso Jata, moon is the mind. It is a product of the mind. So it is watery because it affects water. And then the next planet that comes is Mercury, which is Buddha. Buddha, as we know, it's about buddhi, it's about intellect, it represents the intellect, it is the prince. In the hierarchy of planets, there is the king, there is the queen, and the king and queen have a prince. Because a prince is there, he is young, he is gullible, he can be easily influenced by the company he keeps. Therefore, intellect plays a very important role in our lives. Buddha plays a very important role. If somebody is very intelligent, but the intelligence gets misdirected, the entire life is wasted. Lot of troubles arise. So Buddha is a very important planet. It is about our intellect. It is about how we determine things, how we behave, what kind of business or profession we do. Then there is a princess there, Venus. Venus is the princess. And what does Venus represent? Charm, beauty, aesthetics, creativity, virility. The Sanskrit name for Venus is Shukra. And Shukra comes from Shukracharya. Shukra also means the virya, the semen in a man. So Shukra is about all kinds of virility, and it is about creativity, great creativity. So this is the nature of Venus. Then there comes, if there is a palace, in the palace has a king and a queen, and there is the prince and a princess, then there must be somebody to keep the law and order. So there is Mars or Mangal. Mars, as you know, if you see in the sky, it's a red planet. So Mars has the color of blood. It is the commander-in-chief. It is the police chief. It keeps law and order. He defends the king against enemies. He is also the king's enforcer. So if the king says, okay, go and do this, enforce something, he does that. He does not think twice. And the very nature of Mars is fire. Mars is very fiery. So there is a king, a queen, prince and a princess, and a commander-in-chief, and then there is the guru, the teacher, the guide. He is the philosopher and guide. He not only guides the king, but every single thing, every single part of the horoscope, every single sign and every single planet. He is the teacher. And Jupiter is all auspiciousness. Jupiter generally magnifies things and results. But apart from Jupiter, there is also a judge, Saturn. So Saturn is the judge and he gives everyone, he keeps a record of karma, he gives everyone the results of their karma. So whatever comes up in the prarabdha, that karma has matured, the Saturn will give justice accordingly. Some people consider Saturn to be a cruel graha or a planet which is bad or malefic. But fact of the matter is that Saturn is neither benefic nor malefic. Saturn just gives the result of what one has done. Because unless one goes through the results of their karma, then evolution will not happen. So it is a very important part of evolution. And we look at astrology through the lens of evolutionary process. Because what is astrology? Jyoti plus Ish, Jyotish. Jyotish is made up of these two parts. So what is Jyoti? Jyoti is light, Ish is God. So astrology is about shining the light of God on that area of life which is hidden. Man's evolution is hidden from him. We have come into this world, we have been born here, we will spend this lifetime and go away. But we do not know what is the purpose of our life. So this is where Jyotish comes into play. Jyotish can see where is this soul coming from, what are kind of karma the soul has brought forward into this life, what is the process through which this soul has to go, and then what is the guidance for that soul. So that is what Jyotish is about. It is not so much about predictive astrology. So apart from those 7 planets, whom we call the luminaires, because they are visible in the sky, there are 2 planets whom we don't see. They are Rahu and Ketu. They are non-luminaires. So Rahu and Ketu, these are points in space where the orbit of moon intersects the orbit of the sun. So whatever is happening in the north node is Rahu and the south node is Ketu. There is a mythological story that when the oceans were churned, many things came out. Many goodies came out. Even Garal came out. The poison came out which Shiva accepted. So Amrit came out. And the gods and the demons both had taken part in this churning. But when the nectar came out, the pot of nectar came out, the gods said the demons are not entitled to it. But while this was being distributed, one of the demons disguised himself as a god and went and stood in the queue and tasted nectar. However, this was reported upon by son to Lord Vishnu, who took out his Sudarshan Chakra and beheaded this demon. So the head became Rahu and the body became Ketu. Now because they had tasted nectar, they were living. They could not die. So Rahu is the head. In a horoscope, Rahu is just thinking, thinking and thinking. It creates the smoke in the mind. And Ketu has no mind, it was only the body. So it cannot think. It cannot think so much. So it is something which is always telling us to let go. So Rahu brings entanglement into the world, Ketu brings disconnection from the world. There is always this tussle going on between these two tendencies, and when the balance is found, then a person becomes enlightened. It is a road to liberation. And apart from these 9 planets, 7 luminaires and 2 non-luminaires, there are 3 more planets which you see in most horoscopes these days. These are far off planets. And they were not used in Vedic astrology earlier, though some mention is there. But We call them generational planets. Why are they called generational planets? Because they stay in one sign for decades, for many, many years. And because they stay in one sign for a long period of time. So people born in say 20 years time, most of the people will have the same configuration of these planets in their horoscopes. So the planet is determining the attitudes of and the destinies of a large part of the population at any given point of time. So that is why we call them generational planets. And their study has become very important these days. So one of these planets is Pluto. The Sanskrit name is Yam, and Pluto's job is it is called the underworld, so it brings unexpected struggles in life. The whole purpose is to bring transformation. Unless we struggle, we don't transform. So Pluto performs that role. Then there is Uranus. Uranus is a generational planet which represents innovation, change, and rebellion. So if somebody has Uranus in some place, in that area of his life, he will bring some innovation. It is his now destiny to learn something, to innovate, bring some change, and it should be out of the way. It's out of box. So this is the rebellion part. Rebellion does not mean that everybody has to pick up a gun and fight. Then there is this planet. And today we are more concerned with this planet. This planet is Neptune. Neptune is what? If you go to Greek mythology, Neptune is the god of the sea. And it is also the ruler of the Pisces sign, the mean Rashi, which is the last sign in the Zodiac. So Neptune rules that. Otherwise, in Vedic astrology, Pisces or mean Rashi is ruled by Jupiter, the Guru. But Neptune rules also is a co-ruler of Pisces. And it is associated with intuition, spiritual enlightenment, mercy and compassion. It is more like moon. Moon is very sensitive, moon keeps changing all the time. Neptune also does that. But because Neptune is a generational planet, it changes the way you think. But there is some negativity also associated with it, that if its negative effects are that it may cause intolerance. We may be seeing a lot of intolerance these days because Neptune is actually in Pisces. We'll talk about it. Intolerance, deception, trickery, deceit, guilt and addiction. So this is a brief overview of what the houses in an astrological chart are, what is the nature of the planets, what is the energy of the planets. So we go back to our Kundli of March 29, 2025, 11 p.m. So that particular chart which we had seen here, this was very crowded, this looked very crowded. So that is why I created this particular chart where things are more clearly visible. So you look at the 12th house, which is Pisces, the mean Rashi. Pisces and mean, it is in Hindi also is written here. So how many planets are there? There is Rahu, the master of shadows, the illusion. There is Sun, the ruler. There is Moon, the queen, the mind. There is Mercury, the intellect. And there is the Venus, beauty, charm, creativity. And on 29th, and there is Saturn, the planet of justice. Now, this Pisces is the last sign of the Zodiac. So what is the significance of the last sign? that Pisces shows the end of an evolutionary cycle. A soul may have passed through so many houses, so many births, and when something very significant starts happening here, that means one cycle is ending. And it may have happened for Mumbai on March 29 at about a little earlier than 11 p.m. But this is the conjunction which is happening in the sky. And the sky does not belong to Mumbai alone. It belongs to everybody. So in every single person's, human being's horoscope, this conjunction is happening. So these 6 planets are this. If we include Neptune, then 7 planets, 7 important planets are here in the 12th house. Rahu and Ketu are always opposite to one another. So there is Ketu in the opposite house. There is Jupiter in Taurus and Mars is in Gemini. So this is the kind of positioning of the planets in the sky on March 29, and this positioning will be the same for everybody depending upon the place where they are situated or located. The timing will change, but the conjunction is going to happen. So what does this hold for humanity? What does this hold for us as human beings? That is something which needs to be explored. So all human beings and entities are going to be affected. And this is an indication of Yuga Parivartan, change of the era. So let us investigate this a little further. So what is happening there? On this day, the 29th of March at about a little after 10 o'clock, Saturn, the planet of justice, has entered the sign of Pisces. Now Sun and Rahu are together. When Sun is aspected by Rahu, it is just in line, then the Sun gets eclipsed. So it is a time of solar eclipse. On that day there was a solar eclipse. It was not seen in India, but it was seen elsewhere in the West. So that means that day the energies are quite disturbed. And it is a time when Saturn moves from Aquarius to Pisces, from Kumbha Rashi to Meena Rashi. Now 6 major planets, as I said, they are there in conjunction at Pisces. It is that Neptune is not included here. About Neptune we will talk a little later. So Saturn, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Rahu and Venus. Now you see Rahu and Venus together, it's a very bad conjunction. Sun and Rahu together, it is creating a solar eclipse. Rahu and Saturn together, it is called as Shrapit Yoga, that there is a curse. So it is not a good combination at all. Now, as I said earlier, Pisces or Meena Rashi represents the end of a cycle, end of an evolutionary cycle in a human being. It is the end of a evolutionary cycle in the world. Why? Because this kind of 6 planet or 5 planet conjunction, it happens all the time. It is not to be feared. But this time what has happened is, it is happening in this sign, the 12th sign, the sign of Pisces, which is indicating an end in the cycle of evolution, a kind of a stop there. So this is something which is very significant and it must be taken note of. And it may show that, because it applies to every single entity on earth, that new kind of life is going to happen, a new era is going to start. Then on 29th of March 2025, Saturn entered this place. Other planets were already there. Now Saturn takes about 2.5 years or a little over 2 years to cross one sign. So once Saturn has entered into Pisces, it is going to be there for a significant period of time. As I said, that look at the others. Sun takes Moon, in just 2.5 days it crosses over from one sign to the other. Sun takes 1 month to cross over from one sign to the other. Rahu and Ketu, they take about 1.5 years to cross over from one sign to the other. Venus and Mercury also take, lesser time, a few months to cross over from one sign to the other. But Saturn takes 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years. So it is going to be there. So these 2.5 years, the presence of Saturn in Pisces indicates that there will be a big change, because Saturn is the planet of justice. And you see what is happening around. Even the justices are facing heat ever since Saturn has come into this sign. So now we look at it, we were looking at just the Pisces, that so many planets have come, they have they got their energies, something is cooking here. Now what is to be looked at is that just from the 7th house from Pisces, if we count from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just the opposite house, the 7th house, Rahu has Ketu. Now in astrology there is a concept of drishti or aspect. So every planet looks at the 7th house just across from where it is existing. So all these 6 planets are looking at Ketu, and in turn Ketu is looking at all these 6 planets. And what is Ketu? As I said, Ketu has no mind, it is just the body, it is the planet of Moksha, it disconnects. So that means that because it's a rare event that all these planets have congregated into the sign of Pisces and they are being aspected by Ketu, some big dissolution is about to happen. And why Ketu is very important? It is not just looking at all these 6 planets. Jupiter is here in the 2nd house. Jupiter has a 5th aspect, 5th drishti at the 5th house. So we count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Jupiter is aspecting Ketu. Then Mars is the other planet. Mars has a 4th aspect. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Mars is aspecting Ketu. So what happens? Ketu becomes the center of attraction. Ketu is influencing or is being influenced by every single planet in this conjunction. And this conjunction is happening in Pisces. On 29th of March, Saturn has entered this house. It is going to be there till June of 2027. So it is a very significant event astrologically, and it is also a very significant event for entire humanity. What is being shown here is that the world as we know it is not going to remain the same. All those things which we have taken for granted, they may be dismantled. They may start dissolving, and a new order might emerge. So this is the indication, or this is the message of Ketu and the 6th planet conjunction in the sign of Pisces. So we are in for a great change, and people are experiencing this. That so many things which are not in our control are happening, and we are left reacting to situations. So a massive change is coming. This is the indication of the 6th planet conjunction. Now, it's the same thing, what I have already spoken about. So we go to the next slide. Now Neptune is present here. We have talked about the 6 planets, but we have not talked about Neptune. Now Neptune is about emotional attachments, how we look at things. So look at Neptune. It came into Pisces in April 2022. That means when it was just about to enter Pisces, what happened? The Ukraine war started. And some people say that the Ukraine war will have the seeds of the Third World War. And when does Neptune leave Pisces? April 2036. So for 14 years Neptune is going to remain in this particular house. It will be transiting. It goes forward, go backward, forward, backward, but it will take 14 years to cross this sign. Now, as I said, Neptune is the lord of the seas. Neptune is a watery sign, watery planet. It rules emotions just like moon. So the period of Neptune in Pisces is going to see a lot of intolerance and conflict. People will be guided by their strong opinions, and there may be a lot of conflict because people do not agree with one another. So this is what Neptune is promising. And because it is in the sign of Pisces, which is also a watery sign, Pisces is watery, its lord is Jupiter, so it is promising an end to so many things. So the times that we are entering into are likely to be a little turbulent, and we may face a lot of unexpected movements. Then what happens is that because this is Pisces and Neptune is there, what we can see in the time to come is a lot of difficulty arising in water. There may be some wars, there may be some difficulties, there may be tsunamis, all kinds of things might happen. But that we will talk about when we talk of Atichari Jupiter. That is another major celestial event which is going to happen. So this is the significance of this conjunction that happened on March 29, 2025. Now this happened just once, but the message of its message is loud and clear. Of course, with passage of time, all these planets are not going to stay there for long, because there is movement in the sky. So let us look at some of the movements. So there were these planets on April 14. What happened? Mars, which was in Gemini, it moved into the sign of Cancer or Karka Rashi. And Sun, which was present here, it moved into Aries, because Sun takes 1 month to cover any particular sign. So Sun has crossed Pisces, it has gone into Aries. Then on May 7, Mercury was there here in this house, in this Pisces, house of Pisces. It also moved into Aries. Then May 15, Jupiter moved. Jupiter was here in Taurus, it moves into Gemini. Now Jupiter became Atichari. We will talk about it a little later. It's a very important phenomenon. And Sun, after 1 month had passed, so Sun moved from Aries to Taurus. Then on May 19, what happened? There was Rahu here and Ketu here. Rahu was in Pisces, Ketu was in Virgo or Kanya Rashi. And every planet, all these other planets, they move like this. The luminaires move like this always, unless they are retrograde. Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde. So they are not moving like this clockwise. Other planets move anti-clockwise. And Rahu and Ketu move clockwise. So Rahu moved into, from Pisces it moves into Aquarius. And Ketu, which was here in Virgo, it moved into the sign of Leo. So now Rahu and Ketu are again facing one another, just opposite one another, but occupying different houses. Now what is Aquarius? Pisces, I said it is a Rashi or it is a sign ruled by the Guru, it is a watery sign. Aquarius is also a sign ruled by Saturn. Saturn rules two signs, Aquarius and Capricorn. So Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but Aquarius is what? Aquarius is airy sign. And Rahu is also an airy planet. So Rahu in Aquarius will create storms, lot of thinking, lot of thoughts. People will be under a lot of illusion. So this is the nature of Rahu. And where is Ketu going? Ketu moves from Virgo, which was ruled by Mercury, it moves to the sign of Leo. Leo is the lion. Again he is a ruler of sorts. And Leo is ruled by Sun. So Sun is fiery, Leo is also fiery, Ketu is fiery. So Ketu is moving into a sign where Ketu behaves like Mars. It is like the commander-in-chief. And it has more fire than the commander-in-chief. So this planet or this Ketu having more fire is going into a sign where there is already fire. So this is a very explosive combination. Too much of thinking on the one hand, engineered by Rahu and in Aquarius, and too much of fire and disconnection being engineered by Ketu in Leo. And Rahu and Ketu, Saturn, I said it takes more than 2 years to transit a house. Rahu and Ketu take 18 months. So for the next 18 months, Rahu and Ketu are going to be in this kind of a state where Rahu is creating storms in the mind and Ketu is creating fire. Now, how exactly each person will be affected by this change will depend upon which side or which sign, which house these signs occupy. So if like somebody is born in Aquarius, then it will be the first house. So his personality will be affected and Ketu will come into the 7th house. So there will be some kind of an issues in partnership with his spouse, whatever. So it all depends upon where the particular sign is placed in a person's horoscope. But wherever Aquarius is, Rahu will be. Wherever Leo in that horoscope is, Ketu will be. And they will affect, because Rahu is in a sign which is a airy sign, and Rahu is airy. So air and air will create a lot of smoke, lot of thoughts, lot of storms, and Ketu in the sign of Leo will create a lot of fire. So for 1.5 years, everybody is going to experience these things, and this will be very transformative. So this is what everybody should know. Let us go further. On May 31, this Mercury will be also moving. I think, I don't know, I made some mistake by putting Mercury here. Mercury should ideally be here. I'm not sure. But on May 31, Mercury will move. So from Pisces it moves, it will go to the first. No. Venus moves. Venus was here. Venus has moved to the first, this Aries. So now what happens? It leaves only Saturn in the house of Pisces and Neptune. So Neptune will have a free play, and Saturn also will have a free play up to, say, the next year, the 2027 June. This we can talk about it today. So we will come to what is the message of Saturn and what does all this hold for us. But there is something which is happening in the short term which I must tell you. Ketu has gone into the sign of Leo. Leo is ruled by Sun. Sun is fiery, Leo is fiery, Ketu is more fiery than Mars. And on 7th of June, Mars, which was here in the Kark Rashi or the Cancer sign, it moves into the sign of Leo. So now look at this particular house. Mars brings its own fire, Leo has its fire, and Ketu has its very fire. So it will be like these planets or this whole thing, this area will have all guns blazing. So this will create, wherever this combination is happening in a person's horoscope, one has to be very careful. That body part may be affected, there may be surgeries involved, there may be accidents which may cause loss of blood. Mars is also a planet which determines, which is about land, so there may be movement in the tectonic plates, there may be bad earthquakes, or the whole thing may combine that there is an earthquake which triggers a tsunami here. Neptune and Saturn are there. So all these things can happen, and above all there can be wars. So ongoing wars can suddenly see a lot of escalation, and where there is none, there may be some skirmishes, something may happen. So this particular combination is going to continue up to July 27. After July 27, Mars will move into the sign of Virgo. So this particular explosive combination will go away. So everybody has to be really careful about this. Now, when will this combination be at its worst? See, on July 23, it is the map of the sky on July 23 at Mumbai. So at 3:30 a.m., Mangal or Mars is in Simha Rashi, that Leo sign. What is the degree? 26 degrees, 32 minutes, 16 seconds. And look at Ketu. Ketu is in Singha Rashi, the Leo sign, and it is degrees 26 degrees 32 minutes and 7 seconds. So they are just above one another. So Mars and Ketu, they are together, but they will be exactly over one another on July 23 at 3:30 a.m. for Mumbai. The timing may change for different places, but it will be more or less July 23, 22 or 24 depending upon where the place is. So this will be a time to be watched. So take care of yourself. If somebody has fever, don't ignore it. Get yourself checked if there is any issues physically, then take care. Take care of your relationships. Sometimes, like what happens if I tell you about my own horoscope. In my horoscope, this is happening in the second house. This combination. Second house is the house of speech. So what happens that if it is happening in somebody's second house, then he may get excited and speak harshly to somebody, and that may create a disruption in relationships. So something like these things can happen. This is how astrology is used to predict. But this combination is deadly, and it is deadly in the sense that it may create some conflicts and wars, so everybody has to be very watchful. And then I said that on the July 23 at 3:30 a.m. this Mangal or Mars and Ketu will be just above one another. So that is the time to be watched. On the 27th of June, they will move away from one another. Then this particular thing, that Saturn in Pisces continues up to what time? June 30, 2027. So this is the horoscope for June 30, 2027. On that day, Saturn would have moved out of Pisces, and this will be the kind of array of planets in different houses or in different signs. So this whole period from 29th of March 2025 to June 30, 2027, Saturn will be in Pisces, the last sign which represents an end of a cycle in evolution. So what did we see here? On 29th March 2025, Ketu was influencing the 6 or 7 planets here in the last sign. Jupiter was looking at Ketu, Mars was also looking at Ketu. So Ketu was at the center of everything. Now Ketu is dissolution. So the message of Ketu is that this is a time when the foundation stone for a new world order has been laid. And this new world order will happen, is going to come. So things that people have taken for granted, those will change. One cycle of evolution will end in every single individual's life, or in so many, in the lives of nations, in the life of institutions. In every case, a cycle of evolution is ending, and we are present here to witness this change. And it is going to happen everywhere. So, this being the period of Yuga Parivartan from March 29, 2025 to June 30, 2027, Saturn will do this job. So what do we expect from Saturn? Saturn dispenses justice. Saturn comes to the sign of Pisces after 30 years. Those of us who have completed 60, we have seen we will be seeing the second cycle of Saturn moving through Pisces. So it is like this, that the result of karmas, or people who are in the range of 30 years of life, they are seeing this. Or even those who may be newly born, see, the karmas are being brought forward. So when Saturn is moving through Pisces, it is going to dispense justice by bringing up the result of the prarabdha karma. All the karmas that have matured, they will fructify. And what do we do? One has to go through the results of that. So there will be a challenge, there will be a change, many unexpected things will happen. So what is the message that we have? The other good, every challenge has some great thing. The good thing is that because the yuga is ending, the era is ending, and a new era is about to take place, it is to come into existence. Whatever is the karmic thing up to this point, that will be resolved. So we have 2 years or a little more than 2 years to do some good karma. Because the Saturn is going to dispense justice. The justice is not about what we have done in the past, it is also about what we are doing in the present. So anything which is done for something positive is going to be immediately rewarded manifold. So what is the message? That this is a time to do sadhana, to find resolution, to know God, to become enlightened, to become settled in the self, so that whatever happens on the outside, one is not shaken by it. So this is the golden window of opportunity that existence is providing to entire mankind. And we must take it. Because if we do not, or if somebody does not, then what will happen? 30th June 2027, Saturn will move into Aries, a new cycle would have begun. If unresolved karmas are being kept forward, then when we'll have to deal with the results of those karmas, they will come up and get resolved in their own sweet time. But these 2 years that we have, that is the promise of Lord Shani, the planet of justice, that it is here, you can resolve everything, please do something about it. Now before we go forward and see what we need to do, I would just like to ask you, does it make sense? Is it clear? Would somebody like to say something or mention something? Yes? No? Nothing?
Oh, can I say about something?
Please go ahead, Raisa.
Still, I mean, it is said in the scriptures also that during Mahabharata, the yuga was changing. Within 18 days, the whole universe changed. Is it something like that which is going to happen? What you want to say?
I will talk about it tomorrow when I take the Atichari Guru.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Second,
something
second, second
something is
point.
changing. Yes,
Second point is about the nakshatra. There are 27 nakshatras. Do these nakshatra don't make any effect on the life and the various attitude of the persons and the whole society? Are the only
nakshatras
planets are
are
going?
always in fact, nakshatras are the ones that are powering the planets. Nakshatras are the ones they are constellations, but their study is very useful from the point of view of say, predictions. Now that you have raised this point, just a minute. See, this is the nakshatras on July 23, 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Now Mangal, Mars is in the sign of Leo. It is 26:32%. But which nakshatra is it there? Purva Phalguni.
Falgun, yeah.
Purva Phalguni is the nakshatra of Shukra. What is Shukra about? Shukra is about virility. So just recently, there was something that was the nakshatra was Bharani. Bharani is about, Mangal is about sex. Mangal is also the karak of sex. So there was some sex scandal being, talked about. So they are always affecting. But here we are not talking about, that astrology in depth, because the whole idea is not to educate people about astrology. I myself do not know. I am just a toddler in astrology. But this message of the planetary combination happening on the 29th of March is so significant that humanity should know about it. Most of the astrologers are talking about war, difficulty, this, that. But nobody is saying that Saturn is in Pisces. And in 2 years' time, just now only 2 years and 1 month is left. In this time, this Saturn is going to give the result of all karmas. So this is the time to use it for good and evolve spiritually. So this is the message. Talking about war, difficulty, that is sowing the seeds of fear in the hearts of people. Whatever is going to happen in the outside world will happen. But what is in it for us? Man has to be selfish. And selfishness has this equivalent in Sanskrit, swarth. So swarth means what? If you analyze, you say, one who knows the true meaning of who he is. Swarth the way, or selfishness the way we use selfishness. I mean, swarth in the sense of selfishness, but swarth is about the highest goal. So that for the highest goal, it is the best opportunity. Now people are getting caught up in things that are happening in the outside world. You go into any social media platform, a WhatsApp group, what is happening? All kinds of political discussions.
Yes.
Everybody has taken side of one person or the other, and they are just fighting battles.
Correct.
On the WhatsApp group. Will that battle give them anything? No. So the whole idea is, because we are in a spiritual life, the idea is that we must try and help other people. That don't waste your time. Every moment is very precious. So this is the message of Saturn. The outside world will be what it is. You cannot change it. But change yourself. This is the best opportunity. Yes, आप कुछ कह रहे थे वैसे.
No, I was only saying, the crux of the matter is that now we will go more spiritual and do more within ourselves rather than looking outside.
That is it. So, for that, since it is a 1.5 hour program and we are almost ending, let me share a particular slide. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So what has happened is, since 2012, Mother Earth has changed. Those who may know about Schumann resonance, they will know that the frequency and vibration of Mother Earth has gone up by several times since 2012. So Mother Earth, the planet on which we are living, it has moved to a very high state. But we are refusing to move. We are refusing to go along. So what other option does Mother Earth have than to bring wars and destruction and dissolution? So where humanity is today? In 3D civilization. What is a 3D civilization? Either we are victims or abusers. We are only rooted in fear, anger, scarcity, criticism, complaining, condemning, accusing, mistrust, emotional dramas, panic buying, conspicuous consumption, all these things. This is what determines most of us. There is no contemplation. We have not learnt from the sun. He gives his energy, light, prana to everybody. Does he ask for a passport? Mother Earth is holding everybody, the worst of people and the best of people, without discrimination. But we are still living in this kind of an ideal crisis. There is no love in the heart. All of whatever love we talk about is just transactional. So this must change. And where will the change come? Introspection must happen. So that is where self-empowerment. Otherwise, what are we doing? We are just at the mercy of our emotions, at the mercy of the mind, at the mercy of the society, which is telling us all kinds of things, at the mercy of WhatsApp groups. But we must empower ourselves. How does empowerment will have? How will empowerment happen? That there should be introspection. When will introspection happen? Stop looking through the filter of your bias. And when this filter of bias, it is not easy because we have been conditioned. Our parents have told us certain things, we have believed in that. Our society tells us certain things, we believe in that. We have read certain books, certain ideas. We have a particular WhatsApp group where very persuasive arguments are being given. We accept that. But we are not using our own introspection. So that introspection will come only when there is no bias. We drop our filters. And when we drop our filters, only then we can see the truth. Otherwise, we see a colored version of the truth. And when that starts happening, then there will be hope. If these 2 years are going to offer us enlightenment, or offer us the highest state of being, then this is what is the best opportunity one could have in this life. But we are not looking at that. We are looking outside. So if we start looking at it, there will be self-motivation. Then there will be real courage. Courage is being steadfast in your path of evolution, your soul mission, and releasing of controls. Everybody, you look around, everybody is trying to control others. It happens within the families, it happens in the society, it happens in the nation, it happens everywhere. It happens in the Committee of Nations. But for an evolved soul, that releasing of controls is a must. Then there will be self-discipline. And then there is a path to realization. Earth has already reached this state. It has even crossed this state, 5D. We are lagging behind. That is why Earth has no option but to create wars. Now we have an option. We can just keep entangle ourselves in what is happening on the outside, or else start looking within. Introspection is not easy because all that dirt or muck that we have put under the carpet is going to come out. And there will be a realization that, okay, I made mistakes, I did not look at this. But see how wonderful it is. Because most people do not accept their mistakes. When they accept, then they get into guilt and shame, which is not bad, which is not good at all, because you are losing yourself. So whatever has happened has happened. We all learn only through the mistakes that we have made. So be it. I made a mistake, but now it is the time to be learning. Now it is the time to go higher in evolution. And that is why I have been brought here on this planet. This is why we are here at this time, which is a very crucial time for the evolution of humanity. So who will become entitled to enter the kingdom of God? One who has to look within. So it is like this, that people think of, that Satyuga will come, some great era will come. But right within, if we just close our eyes and look within and experience the divinity which is inside us, Satyuga is there. Then no matter what happens on the outside, we will have the ability to deal with it. When some great problem arises or some great challenge arises, then who is able to deal with it? One who is looking for an opportunity in adversity. COVID happened, some businesses went down, people lost their money in their everything, and some thrived. So who thrived? Those who were able to see some opportunity in adversity. So that will always be there. But who can see the opportunity in adversity? Only that person who has no filter. If we start saying, oh my God, it is terrible, it is very bad, this is bad, that is bad, we can't see the opportunity. But when one who is established in the self, he keeps himself cool, he will be able to see what is in it for me. So let us be cool, let us be very alert and see the opportunity that is here for the next 2 years. There are so many things which we can crib about. The fact of the matter is that existence is very compassionate. So if somebody does not want to change himself or herself, well, fair enough. One can stay on this planet or keep coming and going for thousands of years. Those who do not change, they will not evolve. The whole purpose of having repeated births is to learn from what we have undergone. So here is a golden opportunity that these 2 years offer a wonderful window of self-improvement and evolution spiritually. And we must take it. So I would urge you, it's almost time. We have a session tomorrow. We will talk about something very important. But please take some time today. If God has given you this offer, or Lord Saturn has given you this offer, so write down something. What is it that is holding you back? What is there, that habit or pattern of behavior which is stopping you from experiencing that stillness? If you can experience, and then I had put up those things, I can share it in the group, that these are the limiting patterns of thought and behavior: fear, anxiety, mistrust, emotional drama. See what is holding you back. Just write a few lines about it and ask yourself, what is it that I can do to get out of it? If somebody is addicted to WhatsApp universities, take a detox. Make this resolution that for 1 week I will not look at a WhatsApp message. Or even if I look at, I will not respond. How much time people are just responding to WhatsApp messages? Simple changes. It is not something great, not something unsurmountable. This is the promise of Lord Saturn, that you change yourself and on the evolutionary scale you will go high. I will talk more about it because there are some very practical ways that we can do all this. And it's all scientific. It is not just some mumbo jumbo. So I will close. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. We can have some questions. Anybody? You can unmute yourself and ask.
God uncle, somebody's written on the chat.
Shabnam Mehra, questions. Okay. Would you suggest that we map our individual astrological charts with the current position to figure out what areas? See, Shabnam, that's a personal choice. I neither suggest or nor not suggest. The other thing is, if you chart, if the time of birth and the place and date are correct, then there can be some indications, but this whole session is not about promoting astrology. This session is about becoming more aware.
I'll interrupt. Namaskar, Gaurav. After listening to your last few minutes, I don't think we need to do that because what you said in the last few sentences answered the question already.
Okay, so if you
So
got
I'm
the
with you.
answer,
Yes.
thank you.
But I do have the second question, which I think.
Can we do anything to support our children who may not be able to pursue the path of sadhana? See, what is sadhana? Please mute yourself. Who is talking? Follow the discipline if you are in a session, please. Again, people are talking. See, it is like this. What is sadhana? Sadhana is about knowing yourself. What is holding us back from having true understanding of who we are? Because we are looking in the wrong direction. We are looking to the outside world, whereas the awareness has to turn within. And when does awareness turn within? When we introspect. So our children may not be interested in sadhana, but we can help them a lot by just talking to them about our own personal discoveries in life. How we have discovered our own blocks, our own habit patterns, and how we change those to become better human beings in life. Children may not be ready to listen to a discourse, but they will certainly be very interested in knowing about how their parents have evolved in life. What makes them such wonderful human beings. This is sadhana. Sadhana is not so much about finding some Lord who is sitting somewhere else in a distant place. It is about finding our true nature here and now. Does that make sense, Shabnam?
Wonderfully put. It makes complete sense. Thank you so much.
Ajay Mohan is asking, sir, I have a question related to sadhana. Then, this is not a sadhana talk, but anyway, you go ahead and ask, Ajay. Are you asking? Sunanda, go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I wanted to know which Rashi should we follow for ourselves? Like I'm born on September. So according to that, it's Virgo, and in birth chart in Janam Kundali, it's Singh.
It is like this, that you are following the Western astrology in the Zodiac, depending upon the date of birth you are born, or your date of birth, you fall in a particular sign and you use it. But that is not as per Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology is more scientific in the sense that they take note of the particular sign you were in, or what was the sign that was on the ascendant at the time when you were born. So that is your lagna, number one. Then on that time, so this is about your body and certain other aspects. Then at that time, which was the particular sign which moon was occupying? Moon is the mind. So there is a moon Rashi chart. That is, it becomes your Rashi, and your nakshatra which is there, the moon is in that nakshatra. That nakshatra becomes very important because it tells a lot about your personality, your behavior, your diseases, and a lot of things. So in the Vedic astrology, there is the lagna, the ascendant, and there is also the moon Rashi. So a complete or a composite analysis can be made on the basis of both. Anybody else? Any questions on this particular time, this Saturn which is offering?
Sir, this is Ajay Mohan.
Yes.
At that time, I was unable to unmute.
Yes.
So my question is, if I want to do some thing, is I have a mission, I have a means urge to it means I have a, you can say कि मेरे पास एक शक्ति है कि हाँ मैं कुछ करना चाहता हूँ.
हिंदी में बोलो.
हाँ, बट लेकिन क्या है कि अगर आपके सराउंडिंग्स उसका साथ नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, लोगों को लगता है कि ये इमीडिएट रिजल्ट जो होते हैं वही अच्छे होते हैं, लेकिन मुझे पता है इसका इमीडिएट रिजल्ट नहीं मिलेगा, कुछ समय के बाद मिलेगा. तो ऐसे समय में क्या करना चाहिए?
That is a karma you have brought forward from past lives. to be born in a situation or in a place with in a family where people do not appreciate what you are doing. So you have to learn to live with that and adopt a means of sadhana which is inward. So that is where introspection works. When you are introspecting, you are not showing anything to anybody. Nobody knows what is happening. You do that, you follow that. But this is the kind of challenge people bring. So some people are born in families where support sadhana, some people are born in families where they look down upon people who are doing sadhana. This is a karmic thing, so you have to deal with it. Yes, Dr. Kavita.
Brahmaji, why is Saturn in Pisces so significant? Because Saturn moves through various zodiacs.
This is very significant for one reason, because every 30 years Saturn will move through Pisces. But this time when it entered, there was this very significant combination. And everything was, and Ketu was at the center of that combination. So that is why it is so significant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not because it is in Pisces, but because of the conjunction.
No,
and
because it is
the,
in Pisces, because Pisces signifies an end of a cycle. But that end of a cycle may not be that significant as it is this time, because it started Saturn. When Saturn entered Pisces, there was a 6-planet conjunction. Neptune is there, and the Ketu was there, and Ketu was aspecting all those 6 planets, and Ketu was being aspected by Guru and Mangal, the other 2 planets. So Ketu was at the center, and Ketu is about disconnection, Moksha. So that is, Moksha is the theme. That is how it is.
And Neptune, you said, has both the effects. It can be extremely positive and also extremely
Yes,
negative.
you will see that whenever things are challenging, you will see that the best of everything and the worst of everything. You know, the first line, if you have read A Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens is describing the times of the French Revolution. He says it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. So it
Right.
was both ways, yes.
Wonderful. Really good. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Anobar?
Yes, Gaur uncle, I had one question regarding the sadhana. Is there anything specific or anything particular
No.
that
Introspection is the best sadhana. We
introspection?
must rise in awareness. So when people do a lot of things on the outside, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes they do it mindlessly. So there is no awareness development. So what is most important is that rising in awareness. I will talk about it tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. All right.
So
Sonia Singh has a question.
who?
Sonia Singh.
Sonia. Uncle, please explain how or what is meant by leave control. To stop controlling. Sonia, see, it is like this, that parents think that they know everything and that is how they are going to mold the destiny of their children. But sometimes the children are rebels. And because there is this control thing happening between the parents and the child, a lot of difficulties arise. So if parents also recognize that, okay, it is our job to give them helpful advice, but every soul is independent. Every soul will make its choices. So let us enjoy that relationship. And we remain in a relationship of trust and hope. That is the best part. That is what we can do. Look at what is happening between husband and wife. You know, Wife is trying to control the husband is trying to control the wife. They make each other's life miserable. So leave the control. Give everybody space. That is what it is. Does that make sense?
Yes, uncle, it does make sense. But I was just thinking that sometimes just you have to manage things strictly, or control situations in your own thoughts,
Think,
so
think
that
about it.
things happen
Think about
in a
it.
positive. Yeah.
Yes, it is like this that, a mother can sometimes become very harsh with a child, but there is no violence there. And that action is born out of the realization that this strictness is needed. So when love becomes the guiding force behind all your actions, then you are not exercising control. You are exercising love. Can you get that?
Yes, uncle.
Huh. So that is it. So operate through love. Learn to operate through love. What the world is doing today is it is not operating through love. It is operating through controls. So thank you everyone. I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to write it on the group, or if you want to ask me anything personally, you can just message it to me and I will try to respond. Because this is something which is very dear to my heart, I have somehow come to this conclusion that it's a good time for all of us to evolve, and that evolution does not take too much of effort, because this is the promise of Lord Saturn. All that we need to do is to look within, recognize some of our binding patterns, and the moment we put attention to our binding patterns, transformation starts happening. Why we don't change or we don't transform? Because we never look at ourselves. In fact, some of the very bad patterns, we use them as our defense. We think that, oh, I'll become a doormat if I am not like this. But you have to look at it dispassionately, without bias, and see what you can do to change. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, God Uncle.
Let this message go out to the world, and we will do this by just doing the Shanti part, so that all auspiciousness spreads through the universe. The universe needs it. Sarvesham swastirbhavatu. Sarvesham shantirbhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhino. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai.